the final game I plan to show today is, so this game I lost, and I think it's important to look at games that you do lose, and see what you can learn from it. This is a tier 1 fog map. What the map is, I'm not going to pronounce it, but you can see it on the screen. So I pick Hawk because I typically like stalling playstyles. So that's why I pick Hawk. My opponent picks Derm. Truth be told, I'm not very good at tier 1. I don't have enough experience. If it's tier 4, if it's Sonya's viable, I pick Sonya. Or maybe otherwise I'll probably just pick Drake. Well, no, not Drake. That's tier 3. Jake. Yeah, I would typically pick Jake or someone like that in tier 4. If it's tier 2, I pick most of the time I would just pick Eagle. In tier 1, I actually considered picking Eagle on this, but I thought Eagle wouldn't be strong enough. I have picked Eagle in tier 1 before. Maybe I'll show that whenever that game finishes. But in this case, I chose to pick Hawk. Oh, right. I should probably limit it to my vision so you only see... so I can explain my thought process. So I move my recon at that shoal over there, just so that maybe my opponent's black boat gets trapped by the recon. Just maybe. Unlikely, but you never know, so you might as well try. I sent my I didn't explain it earlier, but I sent my black boat with my infantry to the left. It takes 2 turns to walk to that port, and if I bring the black boat over there, it's still going to take 2 turns to reach that city. So it's 2 turns to capture, so I might as well go for a further property out where I can spread faster. I go for the airport because I love battlecopters. So I haven't played a lot on this map, so my thought process to moving my black boat back was to pick up an infantry, go back to the airport, pick up another infantry, then send them down where I can deliver 2 infantry, 1 for the port and 1 for the city further left. Now, after the game, I know that's probably a mistake. Oh, and that recon going so far. My double recons was probably a mistake against Sturm. I should have known that Sturm's recons are very fast, and I should have, instead of 2 recons, I should have picked a tank. So I can respond to it as soon as it comes. Now Sturm would see my recon moving, and yeah, it was a mistake on my end to build 2 recons. I should have known a Sturm recon was coming because Sturm recons move so fast. Being able to ignore terrain is very powerful. Alright, so like I said, I wanted to move 2 infantry to capture the port and property, but I already have an infantry capturing that property at the bottom, so well, you live and you learn. I haven't really played on this map that much, nor have I really played tier 1 that much. And my opponent did not get trapped by my recon. Probably because that was never the intended landing part. But you know, just in case, it is possible, and that's all that matters. I have considered shooting at his infantry with my recon, but I decided. Oh, I did actually. So it looks like I did. And I would attack the infantry with my other infantry, but then again, I realized that my opponent is Sturm. That infantry is going to survive, so there was no point in continuing. And he got a tank to attack my recon. He also knows that my infantry is in that forest over there. And that's Sturm recon. Because I didn't build an early tank, that recon is just wreaking havoc. I should have built a tank against. If I knew it was Sturm, I should have built a tank. Alright, I get a pretty nice defensive position. I keep my infantry in the forest because I was hoping my opponent forgets about it, but I doubt it. And Sturm gets his recon off very. So all the time, my efforts of chasing it was a waste because I didn't build a tank. Now, I thought my infantry was going to die up there, so I might as well slow down that cap. Alright, I thought, well, I'm building paddlecopters. I might be down a few units, but I will eventually get more more units because I'm using my airport. I placed my artillery in the woods and placed my infantry on either side to make it as hard as possible to dislodge it. Looking back now, it was definitely a mistake to do so. At least it would be if I. And it was the case that it is a mistake because I did not defend that artillery. Oh, Sturm recons just move so fast. So I thought I might as well see what's ahead. I see a tank and our artillery, and I decided instead of just pull back. I don't want Sturm to. I don't know how much he has on the bottom because my recon's not there, and my units are far from ready to attack. But perhaps because I seen that tank on the left, perhaps maybe I should have. Yeah, I have a lot of tanks on my side in a close area, and I can reinforce that property. I probably should have sent my tank to attack his tank. I probably should have done that, considering that I would be able to reinforce that area way faster than my opponent. And now he gets to pull back after capturing that property, so I lose that property for pretty much nothing. And he builds a medium tank. Now, I did not know a medium tank was coming, but I still build artillery just because of their defensive capabilities. I go try to fight back for that property. And this is when I made I would say a blunder. I sent my infantry forward to further reinforce the artillery, but then I decided to split my forces up. I clearly did not send enough to defend that artillery, but what I should have done is, because I was attacking at the center and I was planning to continue attacking south, I should have pulled back my artillery. I should have pulled back my infantry. I should have just. I didn't follow my own plan as I normally would play, which is if I have to choose between losing properties or losing units, I would lose the properties. I should have pulled my artillery back, I should have pulled my infantry back, and just surrendered the properties at the top because I was going to gain the properties at the bottom. That's what I should have done. But instead, you will see how my opponent takes advantage of my shift towards the south. My opponent can see all my units are in the center, so he attacks. He spots my artillery, gets a shot on it, and my forces are pretty much dead at the top. There's nothing I could do. If my battlecopter moves into attack, the anti-air will shoot it down. So he basically, not only does he get the properties, but he kills off so many of my infantry, gets a shot on my artillery. Now, this was another mistake on my end. What I should have done is use my 1 HP infantry to scout the... Because I know his infantry is capping that neutral property. At least I think I remember seeing something. What I should have done is scouted it, used my tank here to attack it, so that my first tank would never have been placed into artillery range. That was a huge mistake on my end. And now I'm gonna get punished for it. He gets a shot on my tank. He destroys... Oh, that's normal actually. But he continues picking off my forces at the top. Just... There's nothing I could do to defend it. So I do continue to win at the bottom. I should have sent everything to the bottom because numbers advantage. And this was another mistake. I sent my 4 HP tank to attack his 1 HP tank. Best move was probably to just join my tanks. Now I don't like joining because unit count, but it probably would have been a best move. And at this point I pretty much... Somehow I still have more unit count. Oh yeah, it was because my turn just ended. So at this point, the game's pretty much already lost. Sturm got a nice hit on my 4 HP tank. I didn't think he would kill it though. I thought Sturm would not be strong enough to. But then again, he does have a comm tower, so it's only minus 10% damage. And the fact that damaged units get less defense from terrain. So I probably should have expected that. So I lost the 4 HP tank because I wanted to kill a 1 HP tank. I wanted to get rid of the anti-air so my battlecopters remain uncontested, but he has 2 more. I see he only has 1 more, but he has another one coming into the fog. Then I continue to... I think I was worried about his meteor, so I pulled back and spread my forces out, which only made things even worse as he can now defeat me in detail, I say. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, defeat me in detail. I was worried about his meteor strike, so I spread my forces thin, way too thin. And yeah, I still have... Well, it's my turn now, so I will get more unit count. Yeah, I have more units. I can eventually turn this around. But if you look at my units, 5 HP infantries, 2 of them are 3 of them are recon, 1 of them is on an edge. Many of them are just damaged infantry and light tanks. I barely have any artillery. I have 3 artillery, so that's not nothing, but I'm fighting against Sturm. His medium tanks are going to survive. And so I really, when I first came into this, I thought I'm Hawk, I can stall this out, and once my super come, I can turn this around. But I really underestimated how strong Sturm actually is. And Yeah, I just didn't realize how hard it was to kill his units. I knew I had to fight back eventually, so I was preparing for my next turn to use my super. Yeah, I was just preparing to use my superpower next turn. Maybe I built a rocket artillery to eventually push back. I noticed my opponent doesn't build a lot of battlecopters, so rockets might not be too bad if I could just hold my defensive position. But what I didn't realize on this map is there was a capture victory condition, and my opponent now has enough properties to win by capture. So I really underestimated Sturm. I thought Hawk would be a better fit because, well, a meteor can only hit one part, so I can do global damage and cripple Sturm. But I didn't even get the super. I lost before that can even happen. So I am in another game with an Eagle versus Max, and it's entirely possible that something similar may happen in that game, but hopefully the lessons I learned from this one will show me I can't just keep retreating. Eventually, I will have to fight back. Otherwise, I just won't be able to. So that I do have one more game, but I'll show it another time. A game that truly changed my playstyle. So that's it for now. I'll see you next time.